Developing countries should introduce widespread restrictions on crypto usage, given risks to tax collection, monetary policy, and financial stability, and should also ban banks from holding crypto. That's according to a new report out from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, or UNCTAD for slightly shorter. This is one of those stories that seems to be coming with increasing frequency and growing urgency from the most powerful governments and supranational organizations around the world. They are very concerned about this whole crypto thing, and yet they don't seem to be willing to plainly identify why, instead focusing on the things that they don't like. But quoting again from a little deeper in that article, we get a clue. Quote, figures cited by UNCTAD show crypto is particularly popular in Russia, Ukraine, and Venezuela, 3 countries affected by sanctions, war, and hyperinflation, end quote. And although that's not the whole story, that kind of is it. Cryptocurrency is popular where disruption is the reality of everyday life, not because of what role it plays in the US dollar-led financial system, which the panel writing this report, of course, draws its power from, but rather because it is an alternative or a competitive option to it. To the extent that cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are dangerous, it's because they represent this form of unstoppable competition to a global financial system that benefits a very few at really indescribable cost to the vast majority. And so when you zoom out, the question really is this. Are we as individuals better served by avoiding disruption and keeping the existing system, knowing how poorly it's performed, knowing how many people it's hurt, the senseless wars and oppressive surveillance states that it enables, and everything else that comes with it? Or would many of us who are not in power actually prefer a period of disruption if it meant that the system that came out the other side would be better for us and would actually serve the purpose that it's meant to? So I'll get off my soapbox. I know I've blown this topic up a little bit more than the headline, but what do you think, Will? Am I taking things too far here?
No, I dig it. I like what someone said in our Slack channel beforehand, right? Cat doesn't like dog, and that's like basically the entire story here, right? They don't like the new system that's coming out. They don't like it for a lot of reasons. They think it makes it hard to collect taxes. It's hard to implement monetary policy. Maybe there's leakages outside the system. You're not able to track what dollars are coming in and out, or if you're swapping currencies. Maybe there's like some illicit activity you can't track now. And a lot of this is frankly true, right? And that's okay. That's okay to a lot of people in Bitcoin. That's okay to a lot of people in crypto. And that's probably okay if people really think about it to anyone who's in banking and has had to send like a wire or like have to deal with a teller. Like, you don't want to do that stuff anymore. And so even the people who are a part of this probably are seeing the changing of the tide and are going to have to implement some policies to try to stop it. But at the end of it, right, it's a technology change. So what are you going to be able to do at all? The one thing with this is that it's the UN, right? And our UN has like this love of writing documentation and policies for developing countries because it thinks it can help them out and thinks it can understand what they need more than they do. And so that pretty classic, right? We see these things with the World Bank, with the IMF, roll out these huge loans that don't make sense at high interest rates and basically just start nationalizing entire parts of the economy and start taking apart entire economies. And people are tired of it. That's the whole story with El Salvador, frankly, is not really the Bitcoin adoption, but the fact that Bukele and Bukele regime has just basically given a middle finger to the IMF and said, we don't want to deal with you anymore. We want to find a different financial system that works for El Salvador. That's the real story down there. Hopefully Bitcoin can be a part of them finding a new financial system, but that's the real story here. And that's what I see with this UN headline, right? It's just another big government international organization trying to tell everyone what to do and then trying to give some policy guidelines for what they think should change based on the new technology that's rolling out and disrupting everyone. Jen, to you.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. This is just such a sad story because developing nations are the ones that benefit the most from crypto. And in so many developing nations, monetary policy and financial stability are pretty much near non-existence. And so to have the UN act as if they're trying to help developing countries, help the people of developing countries by implementing higher tax and putting a ban on crypto is just so frustrating to read. I think to Adam's point earlier on in the show, this is just all about power and slowing adoption of something that can really benefit people and get them out of oppressive monetary situations.